Hey vMixers, Tony Pacheco here, and this is part 2 of our video playback using vMix. In this case, we will be using Companion to manipulate our video playback system on vMix. So just a quick recap of what we have here for inputs. We have two inputs. First input is a list input, and again, just to recap, to get a list, you would just add an input and select list. And then the second input is input 2 is blank. When you first start up vMix, you're going to get basically two blank inputs. Once you've created the first list input, by default you'll have input 2 will be blank. And so I've already gone ahead and populated my list input. So I'll just go over here to the right where you see our list of different video clips. I've already downloaded these, and again, just a refresher, to add clips, simply hit the add button and then navigate to your video clip library, whatever that is, and go ahead and add them there. These have already been added, and again, another reminder, you can always edit the names of these clips if you like. So this one, for instance, I could just edit the name here and just call it woman music or something like that. Okay, that just gives you a pretty a quick reference as to your clips and what they might be. So that's something you can do anytime you like. It doesn't rewrite the name of the clip on your actual computer. It just sort of an alias. Okay, so that's our clips here. Now, just again a reminder that with the list, whatever's the active clip here in the preview is bolded. So if I double click on green leaf, that's now bolded on here, and you can simply take that to program, and it's playing, and that's how you would do your show. But we're going to use a couple of triggers and some companion to sort of make this a bit more elegant using the companion and Stream Deck tool. So just to remind you what we did the first time, the list input has two triggers. And what they do essentially is the first trigger here, I'll just show you. I'll go over to triggers. The first trigger is that when the clip completes, we're going to fade to the blank input. So effectively like a fade to black. And that's going to be a half second fade. And then the second thing it'll do also on completion is it's going to start a particular script that I've written, and that script basically takes you to the next item on the playlist, and that happens after 1 second of delay. So first we want it to fade to black, and then after a second we will go over to that next list item. So I'll show you those things and what they look like. Just basically I'll select, this is a quick clip here, so I'll just go ahead and put that onto our program here. We have our clock here with our total runtime in the middle, and then our time remaining here on the right. So when this goes, it goes to black, and then you can see here that the next clip on that list, so if I go back over here, we started with this one, the woman music, and it went to this one here automatically, and that's exactly the behavior that we want to do. So how did we do that script? Basically, go over to your settings, over to scripting, and this particular one was called next item, and if you have a look at it, it's simply a function equals next item and the input equals list. So that means on this input, so the input 1 is called list, and it's very important. If you change the name of that list, you need to change it here in your script. So on that particular input, the function is to go to the next item, and vMix knows that it's a list, so it will go to the next item on that list. So that's what that's all about. So I've also created one for previous item, which will show you how we trigger that in a moment. And that's exactly the same thing. Function equals previous item in this case, and it's the same input equals list. So just close that out, and I'll just bring up my controller here. And so this is just a emulation. Once if you do have a Stream Deck controller, you can plug it in. Also works on other controllers. But essentially what we have here is that preview and next. So if you remember, if I go to preview, our previous, you see that it's gone to the previous clip, back to the woman. And if I go next, I can just scroll through all my clips and you see them changing there. So that works very nicely. So the other thing that we have done is we have a nice little take button, and that basically takes our preview into program. And so if I click on that, there you go, it just plays our clip, and you notice that that button went from being green and said take, and the moment I've done that, the button has now changed to red to let me know that I'm live. And if I want to get out of this clip, I can hit kill, and it takes me over, takes it off program. Okay, now it takes it off program. Good to know that it still remembers the time. It was at 20 seconds. So if I take this again, it just continues from that 20-second mark, and it goes back to the, like, it just pauses it essentially. So I did create a little restart button here that just basically takes you back to the top of the clip. So that's just a little convenience thing for you there. So the other cool thing that we have here is the 60, 30, and 10. And essentially what that is it takes you to 60 seconds remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 10 seconds remaining. So that's pretty handy for rehearsals. And those are based on some scripts as well, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I'll show you that in action first. So if we take you to this clip, I don't have any 60+ second clips, so I'll just take you to the 30 seconds remaining. So I take you there, and now you can see it's 30 seconds. Take you to the 10-second remaining, and it'll take you to the 10. And then when this clip is done, because we did create those triggers on the list input, this will go to black, and then go scroll down to our next clip, and there you go. One other thing that we created here was this loop on, loop off. It just quickly, it's just a quick way to turn on a loop if you need a particular clip to loop. And again, I built in some feedback so that it's pretty clear that you've got the loop on, and then you can just turn that loop off. What you'll see here is that when you do click that, this green loop on the list window is enabled. Same with the loop on the actual input tile here. And I turn that off, and it's gone. Okay, so what are we doing here? How does this all work? So let's go over to our companion. First of all, let's go over to our scripts for this. So again, back to our scripting page here, and you just see here that the go-tos, they're a little bit more complicated. You can see that there's a bit of code involved here, but the key part of this is that the duration, this duration minus 9999, essentially it's 10,000 or 9,999 milliseconds. So that's 10 seconds. Same with the 30, it'll be 30,000 milliseconds, which is 30 seconds. So now I just want to do a quick shout out to that, to where I sourced that from. This is it's called a vMix wiki, and I'll show you a credit at the end of the video, and there's all kinds of cool stuff on here for scripting, and all kinds of examples, samples of scripts that you can sort of use largely as a learning tool, but you can also grab some of these. They're all fully functional. So that's where that's from, and that's how we get that to work. And then lastly, when we go over to our companion, we'll have a look at some of the code here. So for instance, whenever we do let's say this particular button, the previous button, all we're doing is we're calling the script start function, and we're telling companion that the script that we're looking for In this case, it's the previous, so we're looking for a script name called previous item. And it's very important, again, to ensure that whatever you put in that companion matches the name that you have here. So previous item, you have to, it's pointing to that particular script. Okay, so that's how those all work. As far as the feedback goes, that's a pretty cool one. So the default state of this button is that it's a green background with black text and it says take. However, when we go over to our feedback tab here, we add a feedback, which is a input state, and it's just saying that on the input called list, which is again our video, that first input list, if it's playing, then we're going to change a few things. We're going to change the button to say kill. We're going to change the background color to red, so that when list is playing, that's the input state. When it stops playing and nothing is playing, then it'll return to its default, which is the green background and the word take. So that's essentially it, and hopefully that is something that you might find helpful. Yeah, so I'll just end with a couple of credits. A bunch of our video clips that we listed on here were provided by Videvo, and they're listed here. And the scripting page that we had up earlier is tvcrew.ch/wiki. So that's it for now. Have yourselves a great day.